So in this video, we're going to look into the crimes of Mercedes and Red Bull and what the fraudulent show of Formula One is enabling, because these are crimes. Match fixing is a crime. Throwing the game is a crime. Okay, now there'll be detractors straight away in the comments section to this video. We're going to get the 14-year-old boys thinking that they know something about it and trying to undermine and discredit this content. What's more saddening than the 14-year-old boys commenting is the 65-year-old so-called men commenting in exactly the same manner as the 14-year-old boys, because they've never developed their brain with any form of understanding. But this is the world we live in. It's a fact that there are crimes and crimes associated with sport, and they do damage. They defraud people. Some people make a lot of money out of it through rigging the outcome of events. So, what are the ways that events can be rigged? Let's have a look. You can all do this on Wikipedia. So, in organised sports, of which Formula One is a global organised sport, sold to us all as a global sport, the pinnacle of the sport of motor racing, supposedly. Match fixing, also known as game fixing, race fixing, throwing, or more generally sports fixing, is the act of playing or officiating a contest with the intention of achieving a predetermined result, violating the rules of the game and often the law. Okay, funny that, isn't it? Funny what I've been saying. Funny what this channel is all about, isn't it? There are many reasons why match fixing might take place, including receiving bribes from bookmakers or sports bettors, and blackmail. Competitors may also intentionally perform poorly to gain a future advantage, such as a better draft pick or to face an easier opponent in a latter round of competition. A player might also play poorly to rig a handicap system. So, gain a greater future advantage. So if you don't maximize your performance in this year's championship, you get more aerodynamic wind tunnel testing time for next season's development. Could it be that, Mercedes? Could it be that you are receiving bribes? I mean, we know that Singapore is a global banking centre, one of the global banking, just like the city of London. We're full of criminals as well. Global, let's call them bankers, rich bankers with criminal connections. Lots of deals are done. It's just like in 2008 Crashgate, where miraculously an ING, that's a bank by the way, sponsored car crashed on purpose to enable an ING sponsored car to win that event, cheating. Okay, great publicity for ING winning the ING bank sponsored Singapore Grand Prix, wasn't it? They kind of probably would have done all right out of that, and as would have Flavio Briatore, the man banned from the show of Formula One, but now allowed to come back in. What's he the master of? I wonder. So, Mercedes, did you sabotage Lewis Hamilton's chances in that race for betting fraud? Was it that? Were you doing it because you want to make sure you finish no higher than fourth in the Constructors' Championship, throwing this season's competition for future gain? Was it that your motivation, Mercedes? You're defrauding fans of the sport by doing so. Lewis Hamilton, we know, has global fans. Fans from all around the world are fans of Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Some of his fans, they might have saved up for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of getting to see their favourite driver drive in a Grand Prix. It might have cost them several thousands of pounds, dollars, whatever currency it is. And they may have then invested their money in flying to Singapore, paying for tickets to watch that Grand Prix, in the hope of witnessing their idol perform well in a sporting contest, hoping that he could win. And that man's team nobbles him. You're defrauding the fans. People spending good money to support the person, the competitor, the sporting competitor who they've invested their time, their emotion, their money, their support of. They are buying the products associated with the Mercedes brand and the Mercedes team. They're investing into your product, making you, Toto Wolff, a billionaire. And you, Toto Wolff, are fucking them. You are fucking them because you don't give a fuck. You're a billionaire, and billionaires don't give a fuck. They only give a fuck about themselves. They don't give a fuck about the people. Where's the crime there, Toto? Where's the crime? Let's have a look. Match fixing, when motivated by gambling, requires contacts and normally money transfers between gamblers, players, team officials and or referees. These contacts and transfers can sometimes be discovered and lead to prosecution by the law or the sports league. But that's if those law enforcement agencies can be bothered to do their job. You know, in the UK, we have the UK Serious Fraud Office, and they can't be bothered to do their job. They'll only pick and choose which crimes that they want to investigate. They'll turn a blind eye to some, depending on whether the head of the Serious Fraud Office knows the perpetrator from their Freemasons Brigade private members club. You know, that's the way the law works, isn't it? That's the way the system works. You know, if you're a high-powered person, you can pay someone to have sex with a child, you know, and they can cover it up for you, and then that person will get found supposedly hung themselves in a cell when the two cameras covering the cell, you know, that they just seem to have malfunctioned that night. No blackmail going on or anything like that. No leverage on anybody. It's this secretive world of the so-called elite, the world of the billionaire. Anyway, in contrast, losing for future advantage is internal to the team and very difficult to prove. Very difficult to prove. We can always give good reasons why we put Lewis Hamilton on a strategy which was always destined to fail. We'll always provide a reason why we did that, won't we? Often, substitutions are made by a coach designed to deliberately increase the team's chances of losing, such as having key players sit out, often using minimal or phantom injuries as an excuse, or employing a strategy which is destined to fail. Rather than ordering the players who are actually on the field to intentionally underperform, are cited as the main factor in cases where this has been alleged. All right. So, underperforming. Did Mercedes set up Lewis Hamilton to give him the optimum chance of achieving an optimum outcome? Absolutely not. You can rip apart their strategy. It is clear to see what they were doing. Match fixing includes point shaving and spot fixing, which centre on smaller events such as fastest lap. Spot fixing the fastest lap of the race, using what should be your competitor to take points off another competitor who is a rival, using your B team to take points off a rival team. Oh yes, that's permitted by the governing body of the sport, the show, the fraudulent FIA. So where we go. Unlikely to prove decisive in determining the game's final result. But no, in the season-long event where it's the accumulation of points which is key, 1 point could be all the difference. 1 point can be the difference between winning and losing a driver's championship, a constructor's championship. and you can use your B team to deprive one of your rival teams of that key point if you're Red Bull. But only if you're Red Bull you can do that. Nobody else has a B team, just Red Bull. Allowed by the FIA, allowed by Formula One. Yes, it's all legal. It's all above board in the billionaires club. The non-regulated, or we regulate ourselves. We've got our own rules. We're all men of integrity, aren't we? Yes, yes, we are. So this word integrity keeps coming up, doesn't it? According to Sports Trader, a company that monitors the integrity of sports events on behalf of sports federations, as many as 1% of the matches they monitor show suspicious betting patterns that may be indicative of match fixing. So it would be interesting to see what the betting patterns were relating to the Singapore Grand Prix. What bets were wagered on Lewis Hamilton's outcome, George Russell's outcome. Let's see if they what they are relating to normal betting in this show. Games that are deliberately lost are sometimes called thrown games. Did you deliberately throw Lewis Hamilton's race? Did you deliberately throw his chances in that race of a podium, Mercedes? Because your strategy would indicate that that is the case. Your cover story of starting him on soft compound tyres, used some soft compound tyres, not new ones, was always going to result in him wearing those tyres out in a short period of time and having to pit before those drivers that were on the medium tyres. By doing that, you return to that race further down the field and are likely to lose time whilst trying to make your way back through that field. The cars that are left at the front there, they're then gaining time on you so that they can pit and get back on track without losing position. A known thing. It leaves the guy that pitted early, the guy that had to pit early on those soft tyres, that had to change them soft tyres because they're worn out, then having to nurse a set of hard tyres, or have to do another stop which would cost a further 28 seconds, okay, but nurse the hard tyres to the end of that race. Whilst the other cars, well, they can push hard on the mediums and then push hard on the changed tyre, which would be the hard tyre. You are setting Lewis Hamilton up to fail. That is throwing a race. That's what you've done. That is what you've done. So, in contrast, when a team intentionally loses a game or does not score as high as it can to obtain a perceived future competitive advantage, the team is often said to have tanked the game instead of having thrown it. In sports where a handicap or ranking system exists and is capable of being abused, well, it's not really a handicap system in this, but yes, you're perpetrating an abuse. Motivations and causes. Some major motivations behind match fixing are gambling and future team advantage. So what are you doing, Mercedes? Are you rigging Lewis Hamilton's results? Are you throwing Lewis Hamilton's results for gambling? Okay, is it gambling that you're doing this for? Are you fixing things for gambling outcomes? Or are you doing it for future team advantage? According to the investigative journalist Declan Hill, it has also been linked to corruption, violence, and tax avoidance. In Eastern Europe, organised crime is linked to illegal gambling and score fixing. In Russia, people have disappeared or been murdered after acting against bribery in sports. Strange that, isn't it? Strange that. Criminal activity. Who is involved in the criminal activity? What took place in Abu Dhabi? We had the race official breaking the rules of the sport to manufacture an outcome of the sport. That is race fixing. That's race fixing. And then we have throwing the game. when that race fix can easily be overturned through a judicial process, Mercedes chose not to do that judicial process. That's throwing the outcome of the game, isn't it? When you know you can win, and you know that you were wronged, you know that you were cheated, you know you can overturn it through judicial process, and you don't do that judicial process. You've thrown the game. So we have high value individuals, billionaire Toto Wolff. Oh, Sir Jim Radcliffe, a high value billionaire. We have that global company, Mercedes, multi-billion value company. 3 entities that own the Mercedes-AMG, Petronas, F1 team. Through the game. Had the resources, had the ability to challenge something that they knew was wrong. They knew they would win, and they didn't challenge it. They threw the game. These are crimes. Agreements with gamblers. There may be financial gain through agreements with gamblers. The financial gain in Formula One is growing the popularity. There might well be fraudulent well, it's definitely fraudulent activities. Definitely fraudulent activities. But there might well be gambling fraud going on. Somebody needs to investigate the betting markets. That's if the betting companies aren't involved. Who knows? Who compiles the data? Who monitors the data? Which regulatory bodies actually do their job? The FIA is supposed to be a governing body. They're frauds. Ofcom is supposed to be a governing body. They've enabled Sky Sports to fraudulently present the sport. They've enabled the BBC to fraudulently report on the nature of that so-called sport. Regulatory bodies not doing their job. The Serious Fraud Office aren't investigating the fraud. So who actually does their job in exposing the crimes? Strange, isn't it? Strange. This is the world we're living in. Who is benefiting from the world that we're living in? Oh, the billionaire is allowed to make the money. They go unpunished. Who suffers? Well, the person who suffers is the fan of the sports star, the person that is encouraged to idolize somebody, to invest their time, their emotion, their money in that sports star that they've been encouraged to idolize. That's right. You come and spend £400 on a ticket to the Singapore Grand Prix. It might cost you £2,000 to fly here. It might cost you another £500 in accommodation for the event. And whatever spending money you spend. But this is going to be an amazing experience for you to get to watch your favourite, Sir Lewis Hamilton, compete and have a chance. Look, he's qualified third. But we're going to make sure he's got no chance of winning. We're going to make sure we're even going to favour his teammate. What are you selling? And what are you doing? You don't care, do you? You don't care about the person who you want their money. You want to sell them the thing that is going to make you the money, but then you abuse them. You abuse them and you abuse their trust. Toto Wolff, Sir Jim Radcliffe, Mercedes-Benz, this is you. Abusers. Abusers. Better playoff chances, like I say, next season's wind tunnel testing time. Lots of examples. You can look on Wikipedia yourself. Okay, these are just little examples of all the different ways in which sports are fixed and the different examples that have occurred over the year. More favourable schedule next year, which is the wind tunnel testing time. Match fixing by referees. Okay, Michael Massey. Result fixing by breaking the rules of the sport to set up a 2-car race-off in a multi-competitor event. So, in today's race, let's say there'd been a late safety car situation. Lando Norris leading that race by up to 30 seconds at one point. And in the end, 22 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Oh, late safety car, late safety car. Okay, we'll break the rules of the sport. What we'll do now, we'll pull the safety car in, and what we'll do, we'll just see who wins over one lap between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Oh, we'll give Max the soft compound tyres first. Okay, we'll make sure that Max is on them, and then we'll break the rules. What about Oscar? What about Oscar in third? Yeah, doesn't matter. Won't bother. Nobody cares about whether Oscar is involved. Oh, he's not their race. He's just. I'll just get him out of the way. Doesn't matter. We only want to see who's going to win out of Lando and Max on a one-lap shootout. And we'll make sure Lando's on old hard tyres and Max on soft compound tyres. Go. That's what happened in Abu Dhabi 2021. Would that have been acceptable in today's race? Do you think every single team would have protested about that and said, what are you doing here? You cannot separate out two competitors in a multi-competitor event and set them off to race off for the win of that event, knowing full well one of those competitors. Well, firstly, you can't just separate out two cars. That is illegal. Secondly, you know that you're doing such a thing, breaking the rules to set that up, knowing that one of those is significantly advantaged. You are fixing the outcome of that event. That's fraud. Mercedes went through with a facade of an appeal. Mercedes took a barrister. Red Bull said, we've come here to race, not to have this conducted in a courtroom. The facade. Oh, they've come here to race. Yeah, you had a race. You were getting gapped by 12 seconds. So you needed to have a different form of race, didn't you, Red Bull? The one that you played your clever card with. That's not racing card games. Dirty deals done on luxury super yachts in the Monaco harbour. That's not racing. That's not real motor racing like the real motor racing fans, is it, Red Bull? No. If you're a real racer, yeah, you'd know. That's right. You tell these young 14-year-olds sitting at home in front of their computer with their toy cars in the background and with their gaming chair. Real racers, yeah, you know the sort. Match fixing by referees. So it's got examples of when referees have fixed matches, got paid for it. Somebody checking Michael Massey's banking details, seeing where his income is coming from, where that income might be diverted from. Is anybody monitoring that situation? Which authorities are doing that? Match fixing to a draw or fixed score. Okay, there's various ways that different forms of match fixing take place. Intentional loss to prejudice third party rival. So what's going on with Red Bull? Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, the story they're going to tell you with Daniel. It could be his last race in Formula One. And isn't it great for him to go out on a high by getting the fastest lap in that event? Yeah, that's a great cover story, isn't it? Because the brain dead 14-year-olds, they'll buy that. They'll go, oh, yeah. Oh, Danny Rick, what a great guy. Oh, we like Danny. It's a shame, but at least he got the fastest lap on his last race of the ever in Formula One. Yeah, so you've used your B team to deprive one of your rivals of a championship point. And the FIA allow that. That's absolutely fine. I'm sure. No, it's not. It's not. Check it out. Check out what constitutes match fixing, fraud, sports manipulation. Increased gate receipts. Excite the kiddies and they will spend their money on the show. Excite the kiddies and they will spend their money on the show, not realise that you are fucking them. They won't realise it. You're abusers. You're abusing them. You're abusing your employees who you, through throwing the results, actually affect your season outcome that their bonuses are linked to. You're abusing your own employees. You men of integrity, you billionaires, Toto Wolff, you billionaires, Sir Jim Radcliffe, you billionaires, Mercedes-Benz. Abuse of tie-breaking rules. Yes, yes, it is all an abuse. All an abuse. Price share. Protest action. On occasions, teams tank games as a protest against actions in earlier games. Well, actually, Mercedes tanked the protest. Mercedes tanked that. Mercedes chose not to go through with an action that would have resulted in their driver, winning the world championship, being correctly awarded the championship that he was robbed out of. That's a fraud. Conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest. Would it be a conflict of interest if you're allowed to own two teams in the same competition? Yes. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Let me give you this example. Let's say you are a billionaire and you want to own two football teams in the Premier League. Okay. Let's say you want to own Manchester City and you also want to own Aston Villa. All right. You're a billionaire. You can afford both. That's absolutely fine. And so you've got 40,000 fans from Aston Villa, maybe a lot more, but 40,000 go to the game. You've got 40,000 fans from Manchester City, again, maybe a lot more, but 40,000 go to the game. You want both of them sets of fans buying your replica football shirts at £100 a pop, paying for match tickets, paying for club merchandise, idolising your players from both teams. You, the billionaire, is making money out of all this. Them fans, they are invested in the teams that you own and want their team to achieve the best that it can. Now comes the week where your two teams are playing each other. The billionaire decides on the outcome that he wants. The billionaire decides that, oh, Manchester City are higher in the title challenge, they're higher in the league than Aston Villa are. We need Manchester City to win this game to make sure it keeps their chances of winning the Premier League as high as possible. So we're going to set this up so that Manchester City win this and Aston Villa doesn't. We're going to manipulate this by creating a strategy, a setup for the Aston Villa team, which is going to minimise their chance of success. We're going to set their team up with 5 forwards and no defenders, and we're going to play the midfielders from the reserve team. So they've got five players up front that will never get the ball and no defence. I wonder who's going to win that game. What are you doing? The billionaire is screwing over all of those Aston Villa fans. He's screwing over the people that he should be there to serve and represent. He's taking their money and he's screwing them over. The billionaire is gaining. He's getting paid by the people he's screwed over. He's getting paid by the people he's gifting victory to. He's winning because Manchester City get 3 gifted points to contribute to their season-long total, making their chances of winning the overall prize a lot easier, because when Manchester City's title rivals play Aston Villa don't just play their reserve midfielders and 5 strikers. They have to actually play a hard game against Manchester City's title rivals. That's called sport manipulation. That's why there are rules against being allowed to do that, so that you're not defrauding the competition and defrauding fans. Mercedes, Red Bull, the FIA, who facilitates all this? You're filthy. Absolutely filthy. You can go down this list. There's a lot to it. Effect of non-gambling motivated fixing on wagering. You can go through it. The bottom line is, Mercedes, you have purposefully thrown races. You've thrown Lewis Hamilton's chances away in races. You've undermined him. You've done it on purpose. That Red Bull B team has been utilised to deprive McLaren to deprive Lando Norris of that point for fastest lap. You've done that. A linked team has deprived one of your rivals of a point. That is what you've done. No two ways about it. That is what has been done. These fall under the categories of crime. What are your purpose? Is it gambling? Is it gambling? Fraud. Sports betting? Fraud. Result manipulation? Fraud. This is the Singapore Grand Prix, because I can tell you that Abu Dhabi 2021 categorically was. Categorically was. Who knows? People have been sent to prison. People have been sent to prison. Match fixing in cricket. So we've got the Pakistani cricketers. The fourth test of Pakistan's summer 2010 cricket tour of England contained several incidents of spot fixing involving members of the Pakistan team deliberately bowling no balls at specific points to facilitate betting through bookmakers. Following investigation, 3 Pakistani players were banned from cricket and sentenced to prison terms. Those people involved are committing fraud. You are sports fixing, sports manipulation. You're defrauding fans. You're just defrauding the people who have lost legitimate bets that they're not aware that them bets, the outcomes are rigged. The outcomes are rigged. If you bet on Sir Lewis Hamilton finishing on the podium in this race, he had no chance of finishing on that podium, or his chances were significantly reduced by the strategy that Mercedes employed. And it's a strategy that you can work through, understand the implications of, and understand that you're not even giving him a fighting chance. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Frauds. Toto Wolff, Sir Jim Radcliffe, Mercedes-Benz, Bono the puppet. Not man enough to stand up to them, not man enough to expose them, but you'll quite happily take the money. It's working for you, Bono. You got a promotion. You get more money. Just shh and do what you're told from the above. A puppet. You're not a man. So, various examples. Professional wrestling. Yes, that's what it is. Kayfabe. Boy Tendio talks about this. Okay, Boy Tendio, another YouTube channel which I recommend. He talks about this, and people will switch off. They'll think that he's talking rubbish. They'll think that he talks about things and they'll go, oh, what's this crazy conspiracy guy talking about? If you can't handle it, you've still got the mind of a 14-year-old boy. You might be 65 years old. You've still got the mind of a 14-year-old boy that likes to shout a lot, likes to be heard, but doesn't really know what he's saying. So I suggest, if that's you, you back out of the comment section and you go away and you educate yourself. Because just telling us what you think in the comment section is not useful to anybody. It just continues with a dumb population. You keep making people thick. That's your impact on the planet. That's your legacy as a human being. You've helped contribute to make other people thick because they believe you, because they like what you're saying, because what you're saying gives them the outcome that they like. And it's not about what we like. It's about what is true and what is accurate. And I'm going to come to that in what will probably, no, it might not be my next video, because I'll probably do another breakdown of the Singapore Grand Prix. But I'll come to that because I think I've made a mistake. So what I'm going to do is show you the mistake that I think I've made, show you the reasons why I think this is, explain it to you, and apologise for that being the case. Because that's what you do. If you've got something wrong, you self-analyse. And you need to be willing to apologise, willing to own up to a mistake, and willing to learn from it. So that's going to be one of my few videos over the next few. Anyway, that'll do on this video. All right? That is what's happened at Singapore. Mercedes threw it. They threw away Lewis Hamilton's chances. That is what has happened. They threw away what they knew to be an appeal that they would win. They threw away Abu Dhabi. That's a crime. That's tanking, isn't it? Tanked the appeal. Red Bull, two teams in an event, able to skew the outcomes through the utilisation of their two teams. Think of that football example. Billionaire owes two teams. He can determine which team he wants to win. You're fucking over all them fans that you own. Yeah, you own them. You want them to buy your shirts, but you don't want them to win that game. So you fuck them over. But you don't care because you're a billionaire. That's how you treat people. You don't care about people. You don't care about people. Like Toto Wolff doesn't care about somebody that might have flown to Singapore from Australia or flown to Singapore from around that region of the world because that's their closest Grand Prix. Okay. And therefore saved up £2,000, £4,000 to make that a trip of a lifetime. To see their idol, Sir Lewis Hamilton. They might not get a chance to do it again in Sir Lewis Hamilton's career. And the event that they get to, Hamilton's nobbled by Toto Wolff, by his own team. Because of what, Toto? Because you wanted your favourite, the driver that you want to pretend to the world is the one that you're investing in, George Russell. You want to elevate his status, so you nobble the other guy. Or is it that you've got some blackmail deal going on? Who knows? Who knows, Toto? Who knows what sort of you lead your lifestyle? You know, maybe there's some Jeffrey Epstein character that's got some dirt on you and you owe him a favour, so you've had to rig a result of a race. Who knows, Toto? Let me know what you think in the comments section, Toto Wolff. Okay? Who knows what happens in the billionaires clubs, on these billionaires yacht parties, you know, where people bring along the kiddies under their ownership to pimp them out. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. All I do know is that this sort of thing goes on in the world. Rich bankers with criminal connections, billionaires all being part of the same private members clubs, getting away with criminality, and then it gets covered up. Dirty deals are done. Billionaires make billions and are quite happy to screw over the population. The wonderful world that we live in. And the 14-year-olds that jump up in the comment section, well, keep saying, ha ha, ha ha, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. One day, there might be something that happens in your life that impacts you, and you will feel a sense of injustice. And we will say, ha ha, ha ha, move on. Are you still crying about this? Ha ha, bro, this bro is still crying about this. 10 years later, ha ha, ha ha. Then you'll know how it feels. Then you'll know how it feels. Anyway, once again, thanks for your time. Cheers.